The 2026 NASCAR Cup Series silly season is already underway. We've already seen several dominoes fall in silly season so far. We're fresh off the announcement of Josh Berry is losing his ride after the 2026 season. Corey Heim, who just won last weekend at Michigan, just announced a couple weeks ago that he will be driving for 2311 Racing in the Cup Series in the number 35. But there are still several questions still left unanswered, and what rides may be filled at the end of this season and who may be filling those. So there's a lot of questions still yet to be answered. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out my 2026 NASCAR Cup Series silly season predictions. Let's start out by talking about Richard Childress Racing and the number 33 car. This ride is open and is looking for a full-time driver heading into next season after Kyle Busch's tragic passing a couple weeks ago, and Austin Hill is not the long-term solution for this team, and it seems like Richard Childress Racing is looking for another driver. The first candidate that comes to mind is obviously Jesse Love, the guy that is literally the best prospect for Richard Childress Racing in their own organization, who works in their own shop. He is the number one option for the team. However, at this current moment, it does not seem like he will get this ride due to the current sponsors associated with that car being alcohol brands, nicotine brands as well, insurance companies as well. And those companies don't want a guy that is in his early 20s to be marketing and being the face of their company out on the track. So that seems the reason why Jesse Love 1 is not getting the rides in comparison to Austin Hill. That's why Austin Hill is getting the starts and not Jesse Love, because Austin Hill is in his 30s already. So, Richard Childress Racing does have to look for possibly another option outside of their own program. Now, there's always the option to go with Austin Hill, but in my opinion, I don't think Austin Hill is absolutely the first choice out of everyone. I could see Austin Hill getting a full-time ride if no other options are available, but in this case, when we have several options available for Richard Childress Racing to choose from, I'm thinking that Noah Gragson will fill the role and fill the seat in the number 33 car next season. Noah Gragson at this current moment is driving for Front Row Motorsports. However, he is in a contract season, it seems like, with the team driving the 4 car, and it's not been a good season for Noah. He currently sits 29th in points, several standing points behind his teammates of Todd Gilliland and Zane Smith. Last year was a forgettable year for Noah after he transitioned to the team for his first year with them after driving for 1 year with Stewart-Haas Racing in their final season of operation, where we saw Noah do very, very good things with that team in that 10 car, even though the organization overall, Stewart-Haas, was floundering. We saw several good races out of Noah, where he was running inside the top 15. He was consistently in the top 20 conversation, running between 20th and 25th most weeks. And when Noah went over to Front Row Motorsports, I was extremely happy for him. I think Front Row Motorsports was definitely an upgrade long term, most likely, and even in the short term, they were going to be quickly ascending as well, being one of the new top tier 4 teams alongside Team Penske. But like I've said, these past 2 years, they just haven't been great for Noah. Last year, you could chalk it up to Front Row Motorsports being involved in a lawsuit, having whatever financial impact is going on with that team and running unchartered. You could also have just the team being its first year of having a third car. You could chalk it up to that. And this year, Noah just got a new crew chief, and it maybe has helped a little bit, but definitely not the way we were all hoping. Because Noah, again, his teammates of Zane and Todd Gilliland, they are miles ahead of him, it seems like, in points, both and on track as well. And for Noah heading over to Richard Childress Racing, I think this is a good opportunity for him to reset. He's going over to an established program with Richard Childress Racing that's been around a lot longer than Front Row Motorsports has been. And even though this team is, I would say, somewhat in the similar stage as what Front Row Motorsports is in right now, maybe even on a little bit of a decline, I think Noah would definitely help both the team, and this could help Noah. Noah has good relationships with the sponsors, one being Bass Pro. He is extremely marketable for every sponsor. We've seen that this year with how many times he's appeared on NASCAR social media pages as well. He's just got a great personality. He's it's super funny to just see him and doing any interview. It's super fun to watch. And as well, he will be returning to Chevrolet, the team that he won the most races with in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series when he was back with Junior Motorsports, a Chevrolet team. And for RCR, in addition to bringing in sponsors, this is a good opportunity for Noah and just the team overall to get a little bit younger because heading into this year, they had Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon is in his mid 30s. Kyle is in his early 40s, even into his mid 40s already, which is crazy to kind of think about how long he's been driving in the sport. Noah is still in his mid 20s, coming on into his 30s. So I think for both sides, this gives Noah Gragson a chance to just reset, a fresh start for him after being with Ford for a couple years, and it gets him to go back to Chevrolet, a manufacturer that he's very familiar with. And for RCR, it injects a lot of youth and a lot of marketability into the team, something they definitely need right now if they can't land a guy like Jesse Love because of sponsorship, and if they want to choose someone over Austin Hill, which I think at this current moment you might want to do if you're RCR with Noah Gragson, who has Cup Series experience and can get more sponsors. So if Front Row Motorsports does end up losing Noah Gragson to RCR, who could replace him in the 4 car? And easily the top candidate will be Lane Riggs, and I think that's who the choice will be for Front Row Motorsports. Lane Riggs is having a very good season so far in the Craftsman Truck Series. He's got 3 wins. He's currently has 6 top 5s, 7 top 10s, 4 stage wins. He's the leader in the point standings right now, and he has an 11th place average finish so far this season. And I think this is both a good move for both of the driver and the team. For the team, you get a guy that's from in-house and a guy that is a lot younger than Noah by a couple years, and it keeps just continuing to inject more youth into this team with a very young lineup of Todd Gilliland and Zane Smith with already multiple seasons of Cup under their belt. You get a guy that also wants to go Cup racing, and a guy that like Lane Riggs. It gives him an opportunity to go Cup Series racing with a team that he's very familiar with, get some NASCAR Cup Series experience in the next gen car. Now, another option could be Josh Berry, who did just lose his ride from the Wood brothers. However, the turnoffs with him is that he hasn't shown much ability to do well on track, especially with Ford. And I don't think he has any manufacturer loyalty to return to Ford. And I don't think Front Row Motorsports is really looking at a guy that is several Cup seasons in deep, hasn't shown much out of anything and much potential beyond his 1 win at Las Vegas, which, I mean, it was a very impressive win, don't get me wrong, but that's the same amount of wins that Harrison Burton had in his Cup Series tenure with the Wood brothers, and Harrison Burton's back down in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. So I see it more likely that Front Row Motorsports, again, wants to go with someone a little bit younger and someone who is from their own team in the Truck Series. And even though it might be a little bit aggressive, we have seen this before with guys going straight from the Truck Series up to the Cup Series. Most recently, Carson Hocevar, and look how that's turned out for Spire Motorsports. I would say that's gone pretty well so far. So I think Front Row Motorsports has no reason to not give a shot to the young Truck Series Championship contender in Lane Riggs to replace Noah Gragson. Now let's move on to talk about Hendrick Motorsports and specifically the number 48 car. Now, this team has been a hot topic of discussion over the last few years, and specifically, should Hendrick Motorsports should replace Alex Bowman? And it's been for several years now that Bowman has consistently been the fourth out of the 4 Hendrick drivers, both on the track and in points. I mean, this year it's just been a terrible year for Bowman. He battled vertigo and missed 4 races, ended up now being in the mid 30s in points, being outside the top 30. He's in 31st, I believe, right now. No shot, basically, to make the chase this season. And last year, Alex Bowman barely was able to squeak in to the playoffs on points, but couldn't do much more in the playoffs after that. And Bowman's last win came in a rain-shortened Chicago street race where he was battling Joey Hand, but he was only able really to get that win because of pit and tire strategy. So I think from what we've seen from Alex Bowman over the last few years, we might just have to accept the fact that Bowman, based on when everything goes right, when he's not out of the car for multiple weeks at a time, when he's able to be at full strength, Bowman might just be a fringe chase driver at this point in Hendrick Motorsports equipment, and that does not meet the standards of Hendrick Motorsports, a championship caliber organization. I don't think that's just going to cut it anymore. And based on what we're seeing this year from Bowman, I'm not sure he's even that anymore. With vertigo now, he's had several concussions at this point. He's had a back injury, so I think it's fair to say that because of all the injuries, Bowman just isn't the same driver. He may not be even a chase caliber driver anymore. And I hate to say that, but it might be true. And it might be time for Hendrick Motorsports to move on because of how many injuries he's had, the lack of bounce back and lack of performance that Bowman has had. I think it's just time to move on. Even though he does have good sponsor support and good relations with Ally, the primary sponsor, which is the sponsor that sponsors that 48 car every single race this year and during the season, I just don't think it's enough to keep him in that ride when you have a guy like Corey Day who offers significantly higher upside to the team. So with that being said, I do think Alex Bowman does lose his ride at the end of the season, and I do think Corey Day does come in to replace Bowman in that number 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports next season. Get him the starts, get him some seat time in that car, help him learn the next gen car. He'll be coming in with very low expectations to this seat. It's a drastically different car to the O'Reilly car, which he's done very well in this year. Just get him those laps, get him that seat time, help him learn. And I think by the end of it, we may see a Corey Day win not too far down the road after maybe 1 or 2 years. Now, where does Alex Bowman end up is the question. Now, there's still several seats out on the table at this current moment, and I think Alex Bowman could be a guy that maybe potentially does head over to a Richard Childress Racing to stick with Chevrolet, bring some sponsors in. I think that is a very real opportunity that Alex Bowman may have, and I don't fault Richard Childress Racing for bringing a guy like Alex Bowman, a proven winner, proven veteran that does have more experience than Noah Gragson, to bring them into that car. That's a very fair possibility, but I do think Noah Gragson does fit that seat a little bit more. I do have Alex Bowman ending up with Legacy Motor Club in the number 84 car. However, I don't see Alex Bowman being in that seat for more than one season. I think Alex Bowman is a bridge guy. He will be in that seat for 1 to 2 years. It's going to be kind of like a prove it year for him. If he does well, he might, earn another year with that team, or he may go explore another opportunity with an even better team, even better partnership. While Legacy Motor Club gets the opportunity to bring in a younger guy with a little bit more ceiling than Bowman does, because Toyota just has so many good prospects in their system right now. Caden Honeycutt down in the Truck Series at this current moment. You have Taylor Gray in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, who I think is a very underrated prospect in NASCAR at this current moment. William Sawalch brings a lot of sponsorship and funding, and I think as well is an ascending prospect at this current moment. Toyota also has Jade Avedizian in their system, who's on a development deal. We'll see how far she progresses. Maybe she can get some truck opportunities later on this season. I know she's getting some ARCA West starts this year and just driving an ARCA in general. And we might have to wait a little bit to see when she gets some truck opportunities. But I would say that she's definitely possibly a candidate to get a Toyota ride moving forward in their system. But at this current moment, it does seem like that Caden Honeycutt is probably one of the hottest Toyota prospects, beyond Brent Cruz, who obviously I think is penciled in to replace Denny Hamlin after Hamlin retires. I think Honeycutt has a higher ceiling than a guy like William Sawallich, like Taylor Gray. I think that we could see a Caden Honeycutt rapid ascension very soon. We could even see maybe Caden Honeycutt go straight from trucks up to the Cup Series, because I don't think he's going to get an O'Reilly Series opportunity anytime soon. There's also Harrison Burton, a guy that I think has, his ceiling has dropped in recent years just based off his Cup performance and his performance in the O'Reilly Series this year. But I still think Harrison Burton is a very talented driver given the right situation. And he's a guy that you can kind of build around and help improve long term. Maybe not necessarily an immediate impact, but is a guy that, can be built around long term, especially with a team like Legacy Motor Club, who, you know, we're gonna start expecting results from a little bit sooner. So maybe that's a pushback against him, but I think still Harrison Burton is an opportunity or option, excuse me, to replace a guy like Bowman down the line. So there we go. We got Bowman in the 84 car to fill out a Legacy Motor Club C for at least one season, maybe more, but most likely it's going to be a prove it year deal for him. Corey Day in the 48, Noah Gregson in the 33 for Richard Childress Racing, and then we also have Lane Riggs for Front Row Motorsports in the 4. So that leaves one seat open. That's the 21 of the Wood Brothers, the most recent team to announce an opening for next season. So who's going to fill that seat? And again, looking at all the options in a vacuum, that's kind of what I did for Legacy Motor Club. In a vacuum, there was a lot of options for the Wood brothers at this current moment. Lane Riggs could be a guy that Penske maybe looks to bring in on like a development deal. The Wood brothers have a history of being a team that, helps funnel in and give experience to the Penske drivers, the Penske development drivers like Ryan Blaney, for example, a guy that started with the Wood brothers in the 21 for a couple seasons, eventually moved into the 12 car once that seat opened up. There, of course, is also maybe a potential Chandler Smith, another Ford guy. He does seem a little bit out there because I don't think Chandler Smith one has the funding, and I'm not sure he has the quite the same ceiling as maybe a guy like Lane Riggs does. Alex Bowman could be on the table potentially if Bowman does end up losing his ride. Noah Gragson, another Ford guy, he could potentially be a guy, but I'm going to go the route of Penske wants to put a guy in that car that could be a development guy and that could eventually replace a guy like Austin Cindric. And I think that guy is Jesse Love. The hot new rumor going around the NASCAR garage as of late, the last few days and last few weeks, is that Jesse Love is talking to Ford teams. He's branching out to all manufacturers, and it's clear that Jesse Love does not have a manufacturer commitment to be with Chevrolet. And to be quite honest, manufacturer commitments and manufacturer loyalty among drivers isn't really a thing anymore. We've seen it with Joey Logano even leaving Toyota to go to Team Penske after being with Joe Gibbs Racing for a few years. We've seen Jesse Love, obviously. He's a good example of this. Drove for Toyota, was a Toyota prospect in the ARCA series, then jumped up to the O'Reilly Auto Parts series, and drove for Richard Childress Racing and Chevrolet. Chandler Smith is another guy. He swapped from Toyota to Chevrolet with Calling. Now he's back down in trucks with Ford. Noah Gragson was a Chevrolet guy for a little bit. Then he jumped to front row after he flamed out with Legacy Motor Club. Actually went to Stewart Haas Racing first. I think you guys get the point that manufacturers and manufacturer loyalty not really much of a thing anymore in NASCAR. And so I think this is a great opportunity for Jesse Love, who does want to go Cup Series racing, and I think is ready to drive in the NASCAR Cup Series. We're seeing a lot of drivers already, based on these predictions, getting promotions. Corey Heim is getting his promotion finally. We're seeing Corey Day in these predictions getting a promotion finally. He's even a candidate right now, and he's going to be up in the Cup Series very, very soon, if not next season. And then you got Jesse Love. If he's the guy that doesn't get a promotion, I don't know really what to make sense of that, because Jesse Love was even a candidate to move up maybe even into this season. And based on his current performance this season in the O'Reilly series, being second in points to Justin Allgaier, and for a time being in first in the standings, I think Jesse Love is ready, and he's displayed every single sign of being prepared to run. He's gotten some Cup Series laps under his belt. He's driven for Richard Childress Racing in the Cup Series. He's driven for Beard Motorsports on several occasions. Jesse Love is ready to go Cup Series racing. And for Team Penske, he is a guy that right now is blocked to the Cup Series with Richard Childress Racing. It seems like that sponsors don't want to put him in that 33 car next season. Austin Dillon is still in that seat in that 3 car, at least for one more year. When you have a guy like Jesse Love that is ready to go to the Cup Series, this is a prime opportunity for Team Penske to bring in a guy to get him some laps, have him go to the Wood Brothers, get a full season under his belt, and then in 2028, you can potentially move him over to that 2 car to replace Austin Cindric, insert some more youth, and get a higher ceiling driver than Austin Cindric into that 2 car, and potentially get Team Penske back on track. Have him be the new face of the team alongside Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, 2 champions of the sport. You add Jesse Love, he could be the next champion for that team. So there you go. All the seats that I have been filled in the NASCAR Cup Series. Lane Riggs heads over to the 4 car to replace Noah Gragson. Jesse Love goes over to the 21 to replace Josh Berry. Noah Gragson goes to the 33 to replace Kyle Busch and Austin Hill. Hendrick Motorsports replaces Alex Bowman with Corey Day. And then Legacy Motor Club brings in Alex Bowman to be their 3rd full-time driver for next season. As for some other drivers that are losing their seats after this year, I have a couple of them going down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I have Josh Berry and Riley Herbst both going down to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I actually have Josh Berry returning to Junior Motorsports to drive for one of their cars next season. And I have Riley Herbst actually going down to RCR to replace Jesse Love in the number 2 car. Riley Herbst, he's got good sponsorship. He's a proven winner in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He knows how to get it done, and heading to a good team like Richard Childress Racing, I think it's a good fit for both sides. Richard Childress Racing gets a younger guy with sponsorship and funding, can help, recoup the losses that Kyle Busch's sponsors might have if they choose to leave. You're losing Jesse Love. I think Riley Herbst can do an adequate job of filling that hole that Love is leaving. And then you still got Austin Hill in the wings if you need be. And then Josh Berry, I think, have him go back to a familiar setting with Junior Motorsports. I think it's a pretty solid fit for him. It's a familiar situation, and Josh Berry's a proven winner in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. He's been very solid there in his tenure with the team, and he fits the theme of what Dale Jr. likes. He likes Dale Jr. likes him. I think it's a good fit for them overall. So there you go. Those are my NASCAR silly season predictions for the rest of 2026, heading into the 2027 season. Let me know down in the comments what you think about my predictions. Are they really good? Are they completely fine? Or are they completely outlandish and stupid? Let me know down in the comment section below what you think, and also share some predictions of your own if you have them. So thank you all so much for listening. Hope you all enjoyed this episode of Talkin NASCAR. I will see you very, very soon for the Pocono race recap for the NASCAR Cup Series. So stay tuned for that. Also, go check out Talking Sports with Miles and Andrew. I'll have links to that show and this show down in the description below. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.